What would you do with $10 million? Most people say the same thing: pay off the house, quit the job, help the family, travel the world. It sounds like the end of every problem you've ever had, but here's the part almost nobody tells you: for a huge number of lottery winners, that check isn't the beginning of a better life. It's the beginning of the worst years they'll ever live through. In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly why sudden wealth destroys so many people, through one composite story pulled from real patterns, 5 specific mechanisms that do the damage, and what the winners who actually kept their lives happy did differently. Stay until the end, because the last mechanism is the one that quietly wrecks people who did everything else right. Let's get into it. Call him Mark. Mark works a warehouse shift, has a mortgage he's nervous about, and one Tuesday night he matches 6 numbers. For about a week, it's everything he imagined. He pays off the house. He buys his mom a car. He quits the job he hated, on the spot, no notice. Then the calls start. A cousin he hasn't spoken to in 10 years needs help with rent. A friend from high school has a business opportunity. His brother stops asking to borrow money and starts assuming it's his. Mark says yes, and yes, and yes, because saying no to people he loves, now that he can say yes, feels almost cruel. 18 months later, Mark is not living the dream. He's fighting with his family, he's brokish despite the windfall, and worse than the money, he doesn't trust anyone's motives anymore, including his own. This isn't a rare story. It's closer to the norm. And it's not because Mark was reckless. It's because sudden wealth breaks specific, predictable things in a person's life, and almost nobody warns you what they are. Here's the myth: people ruin their lottery winnings because they're bad with money. Here's the reality: most of the damage isn't financial. It's psychological and social. The money is just the trigger. Let's go through the 5 mechanisms, in order of how fast they usually hit. The moment people know you have money, your relationships change shape. Family and friends start relating to you through what you can give them, not who you are. You start relating to them through suspicion, wondering if this visit, this call, this just checking in, is really about you. Mark's brother didn't sit him down and demand money. It was smaller than that, assuming Mark would cover dinner, then the trip, then the down payment. Small asks that never stopped. Humans read fairness through relative status. When one person's status jumps overnight, the group around them recalibrates, often without anyone meaning to be greedy at all. Winners frequently describe losing their closest relationships within 2 years, not because they were cut off, but because trust quietly eroded on both sides. Mark quit his job the week he won. It felt like freedom. 6 months later, it felt like nothing. A job isn't just income. It's a schedule, a sense of competence, a reason to get up, a group of people who know your name. Remove all of that at once, and you don't get freedom, you get a blank calendar and no answer to. So what do? Purpose doesn't refill itself just because the bank account did. Winners who stayed grounded almost always kept structured, purposeful activity, paid or not, within the first few months. Normal spending has a natural break. You run out of money before you run out of wants. Sudden wealth removes the break, but not the wanting. Mark's car became a nicer car. The nicer car became a boat he used twice. None of it felt reckless in the moment. Each purchase, on its own, seemed reasonable for someone with his balance. People anchor spending to what feels normal for someone like me now, and that anchor drifts upward fast, with no natural signal to stop it. Many large windfalls, spread across a normal lifespan of spending, are smaller than they look. Without a plan, the runway is shorter than people assume. Constraint tells you what to do next. Total freedom doesn't. Suddenly every day requires Mark to decide his life from scratch: what to do, who to trust, what matters. With no external structure doing any of that work for him, most people's sense of direction is quietly outsourced to jobs, bills, and routines. Remove all constraints simultaneously, and the mind that used to run on autopilot now has to steer everything, all the time. This is where a lot of "I don't even know who I am anymore" comes from, not sadness about money, but exhaustion from unstructured choice. Winners who handle the first 4 mechanisms well often still hit this one. As trust erodes and old relationships strain, many winners quietly withdraw, not because they lose people, but because they stop letting people in just to be safe. It's invisible. There's no dramatic blow-up, no bad headline. Just a slow, self-protective retreat that looks like caution from the outside and feels like loneliness from the inside. the instinct that protects your money is the same instinct that isolates your life, and it doesn't know when to turn off. The winners who stay happy, and there genuinely are plenty, tend to do a few things early and on purpose. They set boundaries with money before the requests start, not after. They keep one piece of daily structure or purpose intact. They spend on a plan, not a feeling. They make a small number of decisions early, then stop redeciding their whole life every day. They deliberately keep letting people in, even when caution says not to. None of this is about being smarter than Mark. It's about knowing, in advance, which 5 things are coming for you, so they don't feel like personal failures when they show up. So that's the real reason sudden wealth wrecks so many lives, not carelessness, but 5 predictable forces: the relationship tax, the identity vacuum, lifestyle inflation without a ceiling, decision fatigue, and quiet isolation. None of these hit all at once, and none of them are unique to the lottery. They show up with inheritances, business exits, even sudden promotions. The scale is just bigger with a jackpot. Understanding these 5 forces before they hit you is the single biggest difference between the winners who thrive and the ones who don't. Which of these 5 do you think would hit you hardest, the relationship tax, or the isolation? Tell me in the comments. If this was useful, like it and subscribe. I break down the psychology behind money decisions every week.